Welcome to the hottest real estate topics on the planet, keeping you up to date with all the creative ways to buy and sell real estate without bank qualifying, so anyone can build real income starting today. Here is another great show with Dealmaker Bill and Pete the Rookie.
All right, here we are at another episode of Flipping Houses for Rookies. Good morning, Peter.
Morning, Bill, and hello, everybody.
And we are recording on the 4th of July, Independence Day. How apropos is that?
Oh, yeah.
Creative real estate podcast about independence, doing it on Independence Day.
I was thinking you have to say something like that.
Yeah.
Freedom, freedom.
Yeah. Yep. All right, so we're on episode number 414, which is 414, and the name of today's episode is How to Sell Creative Real Estate in Today's Economy Quickly.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
We have all heard, here's the description. Because I promised us a couple podcasts back, so we're going to knock it out today.
Yeah, we don't usually talk about selling, but if you have any trepidation about selling, that's the easier part.
Right.
Go ahead, tell us all about it.
So here is the description of today's podcast. We have all heard you make all of your money when you buy real estate and you collect it when you sell. Question is, how do you actually sell and get that big check? Right?
Yeah, maybe.
In this eye-opening episode, we are going to dive into the world of creative real estate selling strategies that will give you the edge you need to succeed. Whether you are just starting out or looking to up your game, we've got the insider tips and tricks that will transform your approach into quick real estate profits. By the end of this single episode, you'll be armed with actionable strategies that you can implement immediately to start selling properties faster than you ever thought possible. Don't miss this opportunity to fast track your success in creative real estate selling. Tune in now and discover over 100 ways to get buyers interested in your deals. And most of these places are free to use. Let's get started on how you can take your first steps for big profit, even if you don't have a house for sale.
What, 100 ways, huh?
Yeah. Yep.
I know you're talking about 100 ways to buy them, because the more ways to buy, the better.
Yep.
But 100 ways to sell, I'm listening.
Good. So first thing is we have to do the housekeeping activity because of the, because that's what I promised the gang. So thank you for being here. Thank you for all of your support. Make sure you subscribe to us wherever you're watching us or listening to us. Make sure you like us wherever you're watching us or listening to us. Make sure you leave us a comment wherever you're watching us or listening to us. All that helps you and helps others that are interested in this type of information. Also, we record at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Thursday mornings, and we live stream. So if you want to be part of the podcast, we live stream on YouTube, Flipping Houses for Rookies. We're now live streaming on a second YouTube channel, which is called Creative REI Replay, and we live stream on LinkedIn, and we live stream on Facebook. So if you go to any one of those platforms, type in Flipping Houses for Rookies, you will find us. And I have a screen in front of me that if you type in wherever you're allowed to type on that platform, I will get your question and we will answer it. I only answer questions pertaining to the podcast because I already have too much content that I want to give to you, and we struggle for the time that we're going to be together. So if you have something that is not pertaining to the podcast, you could go to flippinghousesforrookies.com. Top right-hand corner is a support button. You can send us send your questions there, and if it's for myself or Peter, and we will make sure they get answered. Or you can join our WhatsApp messenger group called Let's Talk Real Estate. We have 100 and something people in there. It's like Napoleon Hill says in Think and Grow Rich, make sure you mastermind and you're around people that are like-minded, and that group is that. It's a funny group because sometimes it's real active for days, and then it might go stagnant for a week, and then somebody pops something in there, and then. But it's a good place to ask questions and network and all kinds of stuff. I think last week there's a guy Ted Farrick who is used to be a coaching client, and he posted a deal in there that he was looking to I think it was a seller finance deal or something, and they were the chat was popping because everybody asking questions. So it's pretty cool. All right, enough of that nonsense. Got that out of the way. Whew. I made it.
Good job.
So here we go. I have such a show for you today. So, how to sell creative real estate in today's economy quickly. All right, Pete. So, a lot of folks listening today think you need to buy real estate to do deals and make money. It's a lie.
Well, yeah, you would think, like you buy firewood, you sell firewood. You buy, but it's not, right? It's not.
Right, exactly. So they go down this path of creative real estate as a way to finance potential deals. So they think they need to go find a deal, and then they got to go figure out how to finance it, kind of like the old fix and flip model. Oh, I have the ugliest house in the prettiest neighborhood, and I'm going to fix it up and I'm going to sell it. Well, unfortunately, HGTV killed that business for us because now anybody and everybody that thinks they want to get into real estate does it that way, right? And it cracks me up because they put those numbers on the TV, and they're complete lies because there are a lot of things on those shows that they don't tell you about, which is just TV, right?
Sure.
All right, so this means that too many spend way too much time on the complexities, right? On the complexities of how to talk to sellers, doing deals, and where to find these deals, and offer making, and what's the right offer, and they spend way too much time on the complexities of the deal.
Yeah,
which is incredible to me because that is not how you're going to learn, right? Sitting behind a computer, watching YouTube videos, and trying to memorize scripts, and all these things that I hear because I have 3 coaching groups, and I hear like when you first started, you went to a Kiyosaki event, right? And nothing wrong with that, but what did they tell you? You needed an LLC and
there was a whole laundry list of things I needed, and the lawyer, and the name, and the account, register with the state, getting the attorney. There was so many things, and there's so many complexities. You never get off the ground.
Right.
That's why I called you.
So all that is true if you're going to take a deed in your name. If you're going to do a fix and flip, then yeah, you got to do all that stuff. But there are multiple other ways to do real estate, and you don't need any of that stuff.
Yeah, but you don't need that to start talking to people. You need it when you need it.
Right.
You don't need it, or you never get off the ground.
So then on top of that, our economy hands out real estate appreciation. Really is real estate appreciation. Appreciation means it's worth more today than it was yesterday.
Yeah.
Right? So our economy hands out real estate appreciation like it was free ice cream at an amusement park. So long are the days of finding out what the seller's problem is and solving it. They often can do this with massive price increases, and the buyers and bankers are willing to pay these overinflated prices. So what's happened since COVID is there are too many people that aren't able to, too many investors that are not able to buy properties because I'm in foreclosure, the seller says.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter because you could put your house on the market and like 30 days later you have offers and you just tell the bank, well, I got, these I got a purchase and sales contract, and the bank's like, okay, and they stop the foreclosure, and there you go, right? Or I need to relocate and I got to move in 30 days, right? And they put the house on the market, and not only do they get their asking price, but they get over their asking price, and they get all this extra money so they can move and buy a new house.
Yep.
Right? Or I want to downsize and I need the money to go buy another house, right? It doesn't matter because they can sell the house for over market value. So appreciation has made it difficult for us to find those creative real estate deals.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and nobody's saying this. There's not many out there saying this right now because it's against the rule of I need to sell you my training package, right?
That's true, unfortunately.
I mean, why would a seller give you a discount nowadays?
No, I mean, we used to find a lot of people that, just what you said, they had to move quickly. I got to go to Arizona. I got to go to Denver, job relocation. I don't want to bother with this house, all that stuff. And instead of waiting 3, 4, 5 months to sell it, in this market, they move pretty quick.
That market's changed too, by the way. I mean, that was all of 2021, 2022, 2023. We're in 2024. It has changed. It has softened up. Mm-hmm. But there's way too many creative real estate investors that are out there now because it's become a fad.
Mm-hmm.
So even if there is 10 of those properties in your backyard, there's 100 investors trying to. And unfortunately, in real estate, especially creative real estate, there are too many ideas and too many weird things that happen. And I'm going to tell you right now, Peter, I'm putting a stake in the ground right now, and I'm putting my flag on it. There are people, I won't name the names, that are all over YouTube. They're all over Facebook, and they talk about subject to deals they buy, hundreds of them. They talk about lease option wholesaling. They talk about seller financing. And I will tell you with all of my heart that these folks that you're listening to have not been through a downturn. So their formulas have not taken into effect loss when the market turns. Because we've been on, Mike, I think we've been on a 15-year high, right? I mean, it's been a long time, 13 to 15 years since Obama.
Bill, we were expecting 2016 to be the 10-year point of things turning because it seemed to be a 10-year cycle. And I remember 2016, maybe we shouldn't buy renovations in case we get stuck. That was like 8 years that we, on top of the 10, so it could be up to 18 years now.
So anyways, I'm off topic. Now I'm exaggerating a bit on the appreciation because there still are buyers out there that have trouble and they do need our help. It's not like an all doom and gloom. I mean, it's not a generality like there's no buyers out there. There are buyers out there, right? Mm-hmm. But the trouble that we have is first of all, we've had to up our outflow. So if we were talking to 100 buyers before to get one house, now it's 200, right?
Yep.
The other thing is the skill rate, because I always tell people if you find a motivated seller, you don't need skill. It doesn't take skill. It doesn't take your skill or my skill to close a deal if you find a motivated seller.
Yeah.
A motivated seller says yes more than they say no.
Right.
Right. So if you find that low-hanging fruit, then you could do deals no problem. Mm-hmm. Because they just say yes. And you can even make mistakes and everything. They don't care that you're not trained.
Yeah. But I think they've cut some of those. I think they've cut some of those lower branches off or something.
Yeah. So anyways, getting to the point here, and I'm going to get to all the ways right in a minute. My solution for this was about a year ago, we came out with this Grand Slam offer. Right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And more to the point, and why I'm talking about this today is because the Grand Slam offer is how we can give a seller what they're paying for. Technically, what it is the Grand Slam offer is a script that shows the seller if they have a $300,000 house, if they waited 3 years, they're going to get $394,000. And that busts apart what every other investor is trying to do. We're trying to give them an extra $94,000 in their deal. And by the way, this is a wholesale lease option that we're going to do. So we're going to make 5% on the deal. 5 to 10% on the deal. So think about this, Peter. When I was writing this podcast, I thought this. The realtor has to have a license, go to school, all that kind of stuff to make a 5% commission, right?
No, 2.5.
Yeah.
Because he's got to split it. It's worse.
We don't need any of that. All you got to do is understand how to do the Grand Slam offer and do what I'm going to tell you today.
Yeah. And
you need no license, and you could still make 5 to 10%. It's not a commission. It's not a fee. It's profit. Right?
Yep.
So here's the premise of today's podcast. We have been doing this with our software company, which is Creative REI Replay, which puts leads into your account every single day, anywhere from 5 to 50 leads a day, depending on your area. It automatically texts those leads saying, hey, we want to buy your house, with the right messages for the right types of deals. And then when the seller responds, our AI picks up the conversation and it automatically makes you an appointment.
Yep.
Then all you need to do is you need to get on the phone with them once you have the appointment. You use our script, usually the Grand Slam offer, and our calculator. The calculator, you just put the numbers, 3 or 4 numbers into our calculator, and it tells you with a red, yellow, or green light which one of the deals, creative real estate deals, you should do. So it's me doing the math for you, or Sean, who's my partner, doing the math for you. You don't need to learn all this stuff anymore. It's just kind of like buying a car. You don't need to be a mechanic to buy a car and drive it. You just need to get in the car and drive it and know how to drive it. Well, that's what we're doing with creative real estate. You just need to get in the software and know how to use it and drive it, right?
Yep.
Plus, once we get the deal and they agree to the numbers, you push the button on the bottom that says save, and it automatically generates all of your documents. Doesn't matter what kind of deal it is. The only kind of document we can't do is seller financing, because those are done in each state individually with usually an attorney. They have their own language for the seller financing notes, but everything else we create. Okay.
Got it.
So here's what I found in that group, and this is one of my coaching groups. Right?
Yeah.
Because I coach for myself one night a week. I coach for Creative REI Replay one night a week, and I have a friend of mine that I coach for every other week. Right. So I see a lot of different people.
Yeah.
The best thing in the world you could do in today's economy is get on the phone with a seller, especially if you had the Grand Slam offer, right? Which is in other podcasts. I should have probably figured out where that is, but or send me a support ticket and I'll make sure you get the right link. Okay. So the point is this: say to Mr. Seller, okay, you want $300,000 and you want $1,800 a month. Okay, no problem. Well, okay. Actually, they say they want all cash. Forget that. They say they want all cash, which most of them do, right? You get on the phone. You're on the phones every day, right? So Peter froze. So you say, you back, Peter? So you're on the phone. You're on the phones every day, right? So what do they say? They want all cash. Everybody wants all cash, right?
Oh yeah, they always did, but they want a lot of it.
Right. So now what you say is, you say to them, so if Peter said, I want all cash for a $300,000 house. So I would say to him in the script, I would say to him, so you're saying if I got you $394,000, you wouldn't be interested? And they feel foolish saying no. At that point, you do the script and you're going to show them how you're going to get them $394,000. It's listed right there. It's in the script, right? So here's my point: is you get that person to agree to do a 3-year lease with an option to purchase because they're going to make $100,000, right? By waiting 3 years, and they're willing to do that. What I suggest you do in the very beginning on any transaction, anybody you're talking to, is sign an option agreement for 90 days. And here's my philosophy. If what happens is too many rookies concentrate on what the buyer's going to do. What the seller's going to do. They're worried about how to make an offer to a seller. And I'm going to tell you how to skip the beginner stage. Okay? Skip all the training. What you do is you sign an option agreement. If I was buying a house from you, I sign an option agreement with you for, we'll say, $300,000 and $1,800 a month for 3 years.
Right.
I now go bring that house to the market, and I'm going to tell you how to do that today. Bring that house to the market by advertising it. And the buyers are brutal. They're going to tell you how much the house is worth. They're going to tell you what's wrong with the house, what renovations it needs. They're going to tell you everything you need to do. So that means that your due diligence is done for you. This is how we do virtual deals that are 1,000 miles away from us, because we let the buyer go do our due diligence. Now, here's the incredible part. Once the buyer tells you how much they're willing to pay, how much they have for a down payment, and how much they're willing to pay per month, That's your ceiling. That's what you know you can get by that buyer.
Right.
Now you go back to the seller and you say, so let's say they want to pay, you offered it for, because we always mark the properties up 5 to 10%. So let's say we're marketing this property for $320. So they're willing to pay $320. They have $10,000 down, and they're going to give you $10,000 in down payment assistance payments for 3 years. So you got $20,000 down, right? They're willing to pay $1,800 a month, which is what the seller's asking for, and they're willing to go for 3 years. So that's your offer to your seller. Well, I'll give you $300,000 on an option. I'll pay $1,800 a month, and we're going to do it for 3 years. Now, if the seller came back and said, if you got too many sellers telling you, it's not worth $320,000, it's only worth $280,000, and you got 10 buyers telling you that, well, you go back and tell your seller.
Well, what I find interesting is a seller can ask what they want, anything, cars, guitars, houses, whatever you want to sell. If somebody doesn't ante up, it doesn't matter. So it's not up to us as buyers in the middle or the seller. It's up to the buyer. If they come up and they say, I'll give you $340, okay, we're in good shape. But you're right. It's not up to anybody but the guy who has the money to pay.
Now, here's the stupidest thing that I have missed for decades.
What?
And so have you, and so has all of our listeners.
Oh, man, what?
This is exactly what the realtor does. They sign a listing agreement with the seller, and they go find the buyer, and then the buyer makes the offer via a purchase and sales contract, and they start negotiating. Why aren't we doing that?
Wait a minute. You missed a part. You missed a part where 5 realtors come in, and the seller picks the one with the highest number. Oh, I'll get you $350.
But my point is we could do the same thing with this option agreement. We're going to do the same thing. The same thing. The only difference between the realtor and us at this particular point is the realtor had this thing called the MLS, the Multiple Listing Service, and they had a place that they could sell the property. And up until today, and I don't mean today like today's podcast, but in today's generation, we didn't have that. So what I'm going to do for you today is I'm going to arm you with 100 ways, or we're going to talk about 20 right now, and then I'm going to give you a link by the time we get to the end to get the 100 ways. You can go read them. I'm going to arm you with so many ways that you can go list this property or go get buyers contacting you that it's no different than what a realtor is. So there's no risk for you. You put up $10, $50, $100 for the option consideration deposit, and that's it. You get an option, and then you go to these 100 ways that I'm going to talk about today to actually find your buyer. And then let them do the due diligence with you. And then when you know you have a buyer that's qualified, or you know you have a buyer that's going to be willing to give you what you think you need, now you go make a deal with the seller. There's no risk. This is just like the realtor. They had no risk. They sign a listing agreement with you. They lock you in, and then they go find their buyer.
So when we sign the option, we don't have to do it.
The definition of an option is you have the right to buy without the obligation.
Yep.
And because you have a very small equity share in the property, you're considered a partner, which is why you don't need to have a license. Okay? So that's why I know I took 20 minutes here to explain this, but I want our listeners to understand this is the new way, is to act like an agent. Now, I'm going to bite my tongue because I really shouldn't say that. And the only reason I'm doing this now is because of all the lawsuits with NAR, the National Association of Realtors. There's a lot of lawsuits, and there's a lot of things, and their house of cards are getting torn down. And that's another episode. We actually did a whole episode about that about 10 episodes or 15 episodes ago. Right?
Hey, isn't something coming up July 31st where there's some kind of deadline and something has to happen?
July 1st. It already happened.
Yeah. Ooh, okay.
Yeah, so far as I know right now, technically, a realtor can't charge seller and buyer fees. They can do one or the other. So, anyways, here we go. So let's dive in, right? So, just the last thing is, whatever you mark the house or the property up, like if you mark it up 5%, I don't suggest more than 10%, but if you mark it up 5%, that's your profit. So if you got a $300,000 house and you're going to sell it for $315,000, that's your profit.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, let me add one thing, just in case someone hasn't been following a lot of our podcasts, because I remember when you said that when I was first working with you and coming to your lectures, like, why would somebody pay more for a house? Well, these are people who normally can't get a mortgage, right? So it's either keep renting the rest of their lives or pay a little extra, which down the line is just spread out a little further maybe, or a few more bucks a month, but to at least get a house.
Well, it's like if I sold my computer for $1,000 today and I sold it to you and you gave me $1,000 worth of cash, you would have paid $1,000 for my computer. But if you paid $1,000 for my computer and you put it on your credit card and you paid for it over 24 months, you're paying more than $1,000. That's the same thing we're doing here. And
right, because these guys and these people cannot go to the bank, get the money, and cash out. So they have to stretch it out more. So they're happy, very happy to get this house this way. It's this or nothing. So it's real benefit to them as well.
So we have an option agreement, and we're looking to bring our house to the market, which means we're going to post it for others to see and look at. Mm-hmm. Okay? So number one is obviously Zillow.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, Zillow's the big fish, but I will tell you that I prefer not to use it. I do use it, but I prefer not to use it because it brings in a lot of crap. Okay? Oh. However, with our Grand Slam offer, we're going to sell. Think of it this way. Creative real estate isn't buying and selling the property. Creative real estate is buying and selling the paperwork that controls the property. Right? So
yeah.
if you're a seller, right, and you give me a lease with an option, I'm now controlling that property and never had to buy it. So I'm buying and selling the paperwork.
Mm-hmm. Right? Well, again, isn't that like a realtor? They don't buy the house.
Right, exactly.
They just have a contract that gets them from point A to point B, and they're in the middle.
And their contracts are what makes them their 5 or 10%. And we're doing the same exact thing, except we don't need a license, and we're not regulated yet. Okay? Mm-hmm. So let's say we get an option agreement with our Grand Slam offer for $300,000, like I was talking about before, right? And we can get the seller $394,000, which other podcasts will show you how to do that. It's mainly because we're going to save them the 15% for closing costs. We're going to get them cash flow every month. We're going to get them principal pay down, and we're going to get depreciation and appreciation. Right?
Yep.
So all those things are going to help. Plus, there's a bunch of other benefits in there too, but we're not going to talk about that. So the seller's willing to do this for 3 years, because if you give them the Grand Slam offer, they say, why would I ever want to sell this house? Because it turns into a cash cow. They didn't know how to do that till you came along. That's the service you're offering them, is how they could turn this house into a cash cow. So technically, when we're listing these properties, we're not listing the property. What we're doing is we're getting the property known so we can write the paperwork. We need the buyer to fall into the property so that we can write the paperwork. This is what a bank does. A bank gets the property, gets the buyer excited on the property, so they go through the rigorous process of getting the money. The bank doesn't care about the property other than they're going to collateralize it, so it has to be worth either equal to or less than what they're going to lend. So if the note defaults, they can go get the collateral and get their money back. But other than that, they don't care about the property. Right? Nope. The property has not. All it is an avenue for them to generate the paperwork. That's what we're going to do here. So when you're selling property for creative real estate, you're not selling property. You're selling the creative real estate documents. You're selling the financing of the property. You're not selling the property. The property is just there to attract attention. So when we're on Zillow, we're not going to use the Zillow for sale section because we're not worried. We don't want to be in that arena, right? That's not my circus, not my monkeys. I don't do that. Let realtors go over there and do that. What I want to do is I want to be on the rental side of Zillow. So we're going to go into the rental side of Zillow. So that's where people are going to go, because the people we're looking for are the people that don't qualify for a mortgage. They can't make an offer on the other side, and they just want to make monthly payments on the property. And that's where we want to be, is in the rental side of Zillow. So what we're selling is the down payment amount and the monthly payment amount. That's what we're selling. So if we make that compatible to what a seller's willing to accept and a buyer's willing to pay, we make our money. This is why we bring the house to the market first, so we can survey how much is the buyer willing to put for a down payment and pay monthly for this house. then it's a slam dunk, because once we have our buyers telling us that, then we could tell our seller, well, this is the maximum I could do.
Yep.
You don't need 30 years experience like someone like me to say things. You just, within a week, you post this house on these websites I'm telling you about, and let the buyer tell you what they're willing to do. It's backwards. But it's the best way to do real estate right now.
One of the things we worry about as rookies is like, I don't know if the numbers are right. We don't have your experience. Mine's getting better, obviously. But a lot of people, they're not sure. Is that too much? Is that the right number? I don't know. They get worried about it. Now, you don't have to worry. You go and check it out. You find out this way. Right. You test it.
So just get in your head that we're not doing a rent to own. We're doing a own to rent, which means you're not going on Rentometer and finding out how much you can charge monthly. Mm-hmm. It's all based off of if the seller were to sell this house to you and you had to get a mortgage, how much would your mortgage payment be? Because that's what your lease amount should be. Now, I'm diverting, and I'm trying to shove a bunch of information in here. Think of this. And this is like the perfect storm for us to do this right now, Peter.
Yeah.
Well, for 15 years, since the Obama administration, interest rates have been 3 and 4%, sometimes 5%, 5 at the tops, but it's usually been 3 and 4%, right?
Yep.
Now the interest is 8%. So if we figure out, we're not upselling the interest because we're not a bank and we don't want to get into those bank violations, right? But if at 3%, the mortgage is with taxes and insurance, we'll say $1,300. Mm-hmm. But at 8% at the current rate, that same mortgage is now $1,800. Just by charging $1,800 on today's current rate, because if they had to go get a mortgage, that's what they would pay.
Right.
You just made the seller $500 per month, $6,000 a year, $18,000 over 3 years. Why would the seller not want to do that? It makes it so they feel foolish by saying no. Right? But you have to have this system in place. You have to have these websites, and I keep saying I'm going to talk about, and I keep dragging my feet because I want you to understand the significance of having all this outflow for when you're selling a property. Because what you need to learn as a rookie is your buyer. You need to study your buyer, not your seller. Mm-hmm. Because if you understand the buyer and what the buyer's willing to do and willing to pay, you can then not have to study how to make creative real estate offers and structure deals because the buyer's telling you what they're willing to do. It's just plain survey technology.
Yeah.
Ask them what they want and give it to them. So
but
now,
you can do it, and you can do it during the deal, not before, not after, while it's happening in real time, because you're not really committed on the option. It's an option. You're not committed. You get to find out.
Now watch this. Just one more side note, and I promise I'm going to go to number 2, and we're going to move on.
We're waiting, okay. Mr. Hawthorne.
So one more thing. So I have a new phone person that I hired. I was with her last night.
Yeah.
And I said to her, she's starting to make phone calls.
Yeah.
So I said to her, look, we went in the system, and I said, we have 7,200 and change, 7,246 or something like that, people that have landlines.
Oh.
These are out of area owners. In other words, the tax bill gets sent to a different address than the property.
Yeah.
So they don't live in the house.
Yeah.
So she said to me, okay, so what's the script? I'm going to say, you're going to use the same script, except this is how you're going to start. I work for a couple of investors, and they had a house for sale, and they have a bunch of leftover buyers. Is it possible we could talk about selling your house and see if we can match you up with one of those? That's how it is. Because that's what you're doing. She's got 7,000 names to call.
Oh, Jesus.
You could do the same thing. You can call the seller up and say, I have leftover buyers. I work for an investor and we have leftover buyers. Which, by the way, if you don't have that, all you need to do is just promote one of these houses, one house, and you'll have a bunch of buyers. Because you'll get 150 phone calls, 200 phone calls. You'll get 30, 40 people going through a house, and you'll get a bunch of people that you can get their contact information. All of a sudden, you got 40, 50 buyers. They're leftover buyers because only one person bought the house. So you could do the same thing. Imagine being on the phone with your seller saying, hey, I got a list of 250 buyers that are willing to buy your house. It's a little bit different than a realtor. These are email addresses. These are contact. You can call these people up. You can SMS them, text them. They're actual contacts.
Mm-hmm.
Realtor can't say that. Number 2, another really good site, which I'm promised not to drone on about this site, is called Avail. AVAIL.co. Now, Avail came on the market and it was good at syndicating. So syndication means one person promotes it to many places. So I go put my property on this property, and it would send it out to 15 to 18 other sites. It still does that. Unfortunately for us, maybe not, Realtor.com bought them.
Ooh.
Now, Realtor.com is owned by Value Company. Value Company is the National Association of Realtors company, which is what they're getting sued for racketeering, because Value owns Realtor.com and all these other websites, and they're getting sued because they're saying they're manipulating the market, because Value.com, which is owned by Realtor.com, has been sued for racketeering, because what happens is Value.com owns all these other websites, so it's setting the precedent of how much houses should be, and they're keeping the numbers higher on these sites that we go to for comps so they can make a higher commission. And they've proved this in court.
Oh, my God.
So Realtor.com bought Avail.com. So what's happening, which is totally fine. I mean, that's just a side note. But the point is this. They have become an Apartments.com.
Wait, say that again?
They have become an Apartments.com, because we use Apartments.com to manage our properties and do all that. Well, they've become. So now, not only are you able to advertise and get a bunch of feedback from them, but you can do all your management stuff on there. You can collect payments. You can do everything. You can do everything that we used to do. It used to be Cozy.com. Then Cozy got bought out by Apartments.com. And Apartments.com, you go in there for no charge. They collect all your payments. They put the money in your checkbook. We use them all the time. All my 3/4 of my portfolio is run on Apartments.com.
And you're saying Avail does that too now?
Avail has been bought out by Realtor.com, and now they are doing it. So not only could you advertise and get syndicated, I think it's 17 or 18 or 20 websites. So you can put your house up for sale on a rent to own, because they're used to that, right? Yeah. And you can get it on 18 to 20 websites. Okay, that's a great resource.
That's crazy.
Another great place is Facebook Marketplace. So Facebook Marketplace, as we call it in my emails, Flakebook, because they're flaky, right? If you go into Facebook Marketplace, on the left-hand side, there's a button there that says for rent, and you can go list the property there. Okay? Just be careful that you don't offend anybody, because they'll shut your system, they'll shut your marketplace down. Don't say low credit, good credit, bad credit, because Facebook thinks that's offensive. Don't try to target so basically the ad should say house for sale, no bank qualifying, and that should be enough. Okay?
Yeah, the no bank qualifying isn't a problem?
I don't know. Well, maybe that's why I got shut down. I don't know.
Well, I'm asking because I know you did. I did too. I was selling a house. I had no funny business. I didn't say anything. A friend of mine who works at a church and says nice stuff got his Facebook closed for a couple of days. He's saying nice things. Like you don't know what the complaint is. Anyways, I thought you came up with, instead of that, saying seller financing.
Yeah, so that would be better. So seller financing would be better than no bank qualifying, because no bank qualifying shoehorns them into a stereotype and Facebook.
Boing. Yeah.
Okay, number 4, and of course, realize that I am 60, Peter's 74 years old. Okay, we are boomers. We know we're boomers. We do things old-fashioned, but you know what? You should listen to us, because we've made a lot of money. Okay, so
and we're still alive. You listen to us.
So I would be remiss not to talk about bandit signs, handwritten bandit signs, right? Now, just recently, I have one of my coaching students that is actually using QR codes. So he puts a QR code on his sign so somebody could take a picture of it, and it brings them, and we use stickers. You do these on stickers. I'm going to give you that website in a minute, so grab a paper and pencil. You should definitely have paper and pencil because I'm going to give you a shit ton of websites today. Okay, at least 15 websites I'm going to give you today. Okay, so we put the QR code sticker on the sign, so house for sale, no bank qualifying, and the QR code, and they take a picture of it, and it goes to a web page. It could be your Zillow ad, it could be your Avail.co ad, it could be your website, it could be our Creative REI Reply website, it could be wherever you have it posted, you can put that link in the QR code so they can go see it, right?
Yep.
The Zillow ad would be perfect, right? So what happens is you take a picture of it and it describes the house. Okay? And in the ad, you tell them that they can go see it anytime, right? So the website is obviously https:// but it's QR, Q like in quarter, R like in Robert, QR code generator.com. QR code generator.com. So here's what we do, which I say we do. I'm doing it right now. I have to actually finish doing it. You go in there, you put the URL where you want the QR code to send them. It shows you how to do it. It's very simple. And then they will, I think I'm ordering, what are we ordering? 5-inch? I think we decided the other day, 5-inch?
Yeah.
And I forgot how many it is. I forgot how much it was. But it was $26. And they make them on vinyl and waterproof. So when you stick them on your signs, and which, by the way, signs are a funny thing because you would think that a guy like me is not a dumbass. And I'm just the opposite because I don't tell you about all the dumbass shit that I do. So I'm with my wife yesterday and we're driving by one of my signs and I looked at her and I'm like, holy shit. She goes, what's the matter? I'm like, there's one of my signs. She goes, oh. The sign is completely yellow. There's no writing on it.
Did you put it up backwards?
I went to Walmart and I bought markers, and evidently they weren't permanent markers, so they all washed off.
Are you
so
serious?
I've got signs out that it rained and washed all the magic marker off, and they're just yellow signs in the ground.
The one you showed me, like, look, Pete, look at the markers I bought. Oh, no.
So, again, these are things that, are
Learn the hard way,
things.
Mr. Hawthorne.
But you would think I would know that by now, right? But technology changes and all kinds of stuff. So I had to go spend, go on Amazon and spend $30 for markers so I could make sure that that doesn't happen again.
Yipes.
So anyways, if the QR code was on there, I wouldn't have worried. All right. Number 5.
Hey, we should try that. Put a sign up with just a QR code. Nothing else. The mystery of that would drive people crazy. They'd have to find out what it is. Oh, no. Oh, boy.
It's not a bad idea. On top of that, I'd like to find out if we can get something to put on top of the sign for just the QR code. But, Well, Fred, I got to tell you, if you love this, he said, love this, bro. I got to tell you, hang tight, brother, because I got some even cooler. I'm just giving you the standard stuff that we do now. There's a whole bunch more. So number 5, believe it or not, Craigslist.org. It still works. It works great. Now, the problem with Craigslist is you have to go in there and keep putting your ad to the top. Okay, so every couple days, you got to go repost the ad. Right, every 2 or 3 days. Right. Also, by the way, because Creative REI Reply, right, creativereireply.com if you want to go there, is too easy to do virtual deals. Like we do deals in Ohio, like they're right next door. Matter of fact, if I had to buy a house in my neighborhood, I probably would still use the computer and do it all the ways that I do it because it's easier, right?
Yeah.
The point is this when you're doing virtual deals, I get this a lot on my coaching clients, right? And I help them with this. But you got to hire boots on the ground. Boots on the ground, it means somebody that's there that can go physically touch the house and do what you need them to do. Like things like put a lockbox there, make sure it's clean, make sure the heat is on, make sure the electric's on, make sure the grass is cut, that kind of stuff. and you don't pay them a lot of money, right? $15, $20 an hour, but they don't work many hours, 1 or 2 hours a week. You know what I mean? So you're not paying them a ton of money. The point of telling you that is that the number one place to find boots on the ground is Craigslist. We've been through a whole bunch of them. The other thing that you could do, which I've had coaching clients do, is when you want to find boots on the ground, is we use Thumbtack. Thumbtack or Angie's List or anyone. Thumbtack is the best. There's a few others that I don't know off the top of my head, but Thumbtack, you could just go in there and you can find somebody like the guy that cuts the grass, right? Get a guy to go cut the lawn. And just
Handyman.
A handyman's another one. But I was saying the guy that cuts the grass, you could just say to him, hey, dude, you're going to charge me $50 to cut the grass. What if I give you another $25 and you go in the house and you do this, this, and that? You're already there.
Yeah, simple stuff.
Right? So you could find, so like you said, cut the grass would be a good one. A handyman would be a good one. House cleaners is another one. Women that clean houses, that's another one that would be really good. Get them to go there once a week and mop the floors and, and check on the house and give you a report. So this is how we find boots on the ground. Okay?
Hey, I found something else about Craigslist that when I use it, if you go into your ad and there's an edit button, you edit it, like you don't have to pay again for it, you just edit it. A screen will pop up and say you want to repost it on Facebook and Twitter and other social media.
There you go.
So I just go click, 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 and it just throws it on the other media. So imagine you could have avail.co as one of the other media.
Yep.
Just put it there and it will go around. But it's a feature. It just clicks over.
Yep. Beautiful.
Yeah. Edit.
All right. Number 6. Now we're going to start getting creative because I've covered the 5 ones that we normally do and I talk about all the time in my coaching calls. This is the run of the mill. So now we're going to dig in to the good ones, okay? And I'm going to buzz right through them because we don't have and the reason why I wanted to spend so much time in the beginning is I want you to understand how to use these. You don't need me. I mean, there's a document. If you go in the description of this podcast and click on the link, there's a document there that has 101 ways that you can sell these houses. Okay, so I don't need to read that whole thing to you. You can go download that yourself today. Okay, it's free. Okay? Number 6. Ready?
Yeah.
If you allow pets, if you allow pets in the house, which you should, because our leases, if you use our leases, you get more deposit money and you get more rent money. You charge them per month.
Yeah.
Now, I could go on the rest of the podcast talking about this. But think of it this way. How many times do we go in a house and the house is dated or it needs repairs?
Sure.
And what do I tell you? I tell you, just sell the house on a handyman special.
Yep.
Don't do the repairs. Just sell the house on a handyman special. So if you have a house that you're selling on a handyman special and it's not exactly a nice house to begin with, what the hell do you care if you let him put pets in there? Because it's already not that good. Now, I'm not telling you to do this on something you just spent $40,000 for a renovation. I understand that.
Yeah.
But especially on your handyman specials, where the house is kind of a little bit or a little bit yucky anyways, right? This is a perfect strategy. You allow pets, right? And I'm telling you, there is an absolutely huge market for pets. Huge, especially dogs.
You mean house selling and house renting for people with pets?
People that have pets feel restricted because most landlords and most people will not allow pets.
Ah, interesting.
This is a huge market.
So how do we reach them, Bill?
There's a website that's called peoplewithpets.com. And it's just real estate. It's just real estate.
How'd they come up with that name? Wow.
Peoplewithpets.com. Go there. You can advertise your house on there. You could crush it. Number 7. Oodle.com. OODL.com. I'm giving that to you again. OODL.com is a great place to list property. It allows you to not only post your property, it also allows you to put, like you were saying before, it allows you to put up your social media so you can get traffic to it. Not only do they have traffic, but you can post your social media, like your Facebook page, your Twitter page, all the YouTube page, all that stuff, right?
Yep.
By the way, this is also a great site to find property for sale.
Ooh.
When I went on there, I saw, when I put in my zip code, I saw at least 3 or 4 pages of in my zip code foreclosure ads. People that are in foreclosure. It's a great place to do that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Could you tell? Was that? Could you tell if that was from the seller, the bank, or a realtor?
I didn't have time to go look. I'm just telling you what I saw because I researched. I obviously researched this, and I did it for my backyard, Wallingford, Connecticut.
I will check that. Foreclosures.
Number 8. Mm-hmm. Nextdoor.com. Nextdoor.com. This is a social network site.
Yep.
Kind of like Facebook, but it's for your neighborhood. Now, obviously, don't send me like a support ticket. Like, Bill, I went on there and there's like nobody on my neighborhood. Well, obviously, if you're in a rural area, like out in the east middle of East Bum F, right? Yeah, it's not going to be there. But if you're in a city or in a nice suburb of that city, then this site is awesome, right?
Well, these are free. You just go check, see which ones work for you.
Right.
You don't do them all.
I will tell you, much like meetup.com, because meetup.com is about networking, this site is phenomenal to help you to find sellers, to help you find buyers, and even investors.
Ah.
It's a great site for that. Number 9, Rentberry. RENTB, like in boy, ERRY. Rentberry. This is kind of like a smaller version of Zillow.
Is this .com?
Yeah. Rentberry.com.
Okay.
This is like a Zillow, except guess what? They're not owned and controlled by the realtors. See, when you go on Zillow, Zillow is trying to monetize with the realtors.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So everything that you try to do on Zillow tries to push you into the funnel of a realtor speaking to you when you want to buy or sell.
Yeah, it could be for sale by owner. It says contact agent. You want a tour? Yeah.
Yeah, so Zillow is a lead generator for the realtor system. This is not. So their objective, now get this, Peter, this is on their website. You ready?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Their objective is to handle every part of the long-term rental process, from tenant screening to running ads to open houses, etc.
Wow. So one-stop shop?
Number 10, for those high-end properties, because remember, if you're going to do the Grand Slam offer and you're going to do rent-to-own and you're going to be in places like Tampa, Florida, right? What does Tampa, Florida have? Water. What does water have? High-price properties. 800,000, $1 million. You want to be in Oregon, you want to be in California. The average price in California is 800 and change, right? For a 1,200, 1,500 square foot house, right? So
crazy.
This Grand Slam offer and this strategy that I'm giving you works best because if you put $500,000 on top of an $800,000 deal, that's 40 grand. One deal, 40 grand that you make for doing what I'm telling you to do today. One deal. So you're better off to go after high-end markets, right? So if you're going to be in a high-end market, I think what you should do is you should advertise these properties as executive properties, right? And if you're going to do that, then head on over to this website called nationalcorporatehousing.com. nationalcorporatehousing.com.
Boy, that makes sense.
This site is great for executives that don't have time to spend in the house.
No.
Right? And on top of that, there's a section of their website where they actually rent executives rooms, like single executives that are like, Wall Street type guys. Mm-hmm. They rent them rooms. Just like we were doing special needs for a while, right? With Mr. Cashflow, remember him?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Special needs, right? So you pay the utilities. But what happens is if you get, say, 3 guys that are executives that live in a 6,000 square foot house, right? It doubles your rent. So if normally you would get $4,000 for that, you're now going to get $8,000 for it.
Yeah.
Okay? This excites your seller. If you can do that.
That's a really grand slam offer.
Right. How am I doing so far?
Oh, these are good. Yeah.
We need to keep moving because we're at 55 minutes. So
go.
Quickly.
Well, I was just wondering, when you have a high-end house like that, what extra avenue you have to reach those higher-end people. So that's a good website. I was always wondered that.
So number 11, buyowner.com.
B-U-Y?
B-Y.
B-Y.
BYOWNER.com.
Yeah.
It handles both sales and rentals. They break it down to categories like ranches, farms, vacant land, that kind of stuff. This is a great vacant land stuff because I have coaching clients to do that. This is another site that will help you connect with other industry people like sellers and buyers and investors. They also have a section that helps you print out brochures and flyers for your property once you upload it.
Wow.
Number 12, by owner, same way, BY, owner, MLS. MLS is multiple listing service. So it's by owner, MLS.com.
Mm-hmm.
I believe they have a fee. I couldn't exactly tell. But if you want on the MLS, it's a good site.
Yeah.
Which brings me to number 13. Number 13 is Fizbar, FIZBER.com. And that's another MLS service, but it's for free.
Right.
They'll list your property on for free. Carol, thank you very much. Carol says, love this session. Can't wait to register to it and get these great suggestion documents. You got it. Documented. Thank you, Carol, very much. Okay, number 14. ConnectedInvestors.com. This is a site that I give my coaching clients when they're looking for private money.
Oh.
But if you have a sweet deal, right, it's a network of real estate investors. So if you have a good deal, you can attach or attract investors to the deal because it's a sweet deal. It's also a great place to get money. Okay? So suppose you stumble across a wholesale deal or something that's like 80 cents on a dollar or 75 cents on a dollar or 90, something like that. This is a great place to go advertise it and see what they say. And then you go back and you say to your seller, well, I got 4 investors that told me they would only pay this much. It feeds you with fuel.
Yep.
Number 15. Gebo. G, like in goat. G-E-E-B, like in boy, O. Gebo.com. This is just like Craigslist, except it doesn't have all the bull crap on it with all the like Craigslist got a lot of trash on it. Like automatic tools and, there's a lot of scamming and stuff like that on there. So this Gebo is just like Craigslist, but without all the noise and the crap.
Okay.
GEEBO.com.
Got it.
Number 16, CLAZ. C-L-A-Z. C-L-A-Z. CLAZ.org.
Ooh. Oh.
Is a classified site for free. So you put classified ads on there. But what I like about this site is you can look at reverse ads.
Oh, like looking for?
Yep. So instead of putting your house for rent on there, or when you put your house on for rent on there, you can go there and look for renters that have posted on there for what they're looking for. So you can reverse it. So if you have a house for sale in Manhattan, we'll say, or, I don't know, Louisiana, wherever it is, you can go on there and see if somebody is posting an ad for a house they want to rent or buy, and call them up or contact them. Number 17, Bookoo, BOOKOO.com. Bookoo, BOOKOO.com. Is advertised as a buy and sell site with your neighbors. So it's another neighborhood site. Number 18, pennysaver.com. PENNYSAVER, pennysaver.com. The thing about them is they're not just an online site. They actually print your ads in the local newspaper of wherever you're advertising. So part of
that's those local weekly papers.
Yeah, and you were talking about those before. That's why I put it in here.
Okay.
Number 19, Wall Classifieds. WALL Classifieds.com. This site is worldwide. Okay, so it's not just United States. The reason why I put this in here is because if you have one of those executive homes, and it's in an area that maybe has some industry, like for example Amazon.com or a big Walmart hub or places where people will travel in for jobs, you can put your unusual property on there, like a mansion or something like that, or something that's unusual. It will attract buyers outside of your market. That's why I put it on there. Because, like, for example, I have a coaching client right now that has a house that was built in the 1900s in Ohio. And the house is gorgeous. It's a, 4,000 or 5,000 square foot house. All the houses around it are not like that. It's in a good industrial area. It's an unusual house. This would be a good place for her to advertise this, because you would get out of area people that might want to move into that area. And I'm suggesting that the industry might provoke them to want to move into the area. Right? And number 20, and my last for today's show, because the rest you can go click on the link inside of the description and get the whole 101. And my final one is Hotpads. HOTPADS. This site is unique because it was founded in 2005 and later bought by Zillow for $15 million. But they were the first site to map base property in 2005. So they would map the properties. They would map the properties on a digital map. Right? I mean, everybody does it now, but back then nobody did it. Right? The reason why that's important is because when that site first came out, HotBiz, which is what's on this site looking for properties often, right? Because they map-based it, a lot of, and it was on a broad criteria, so it wasn't just one area. It was like you can zone out and go city by city, state by state, right? It attracted like HR departments. It attracted relocation specialists, corporate headhunters, and it's good for that kind of stuff. Again, outside of your zone, like if we have an $800,000 or $1 million piece of property, we can advertise it as an executive property, and we can put it on this site, and we have a better chance of just putting it on Zillow.
Well, it looks like it's headed toward the correct market where the people are.
Right.
That we're looking for.
Okay. That's a pretty good list so far, huh?
Where'd you get all that?
So my friend Ozam Mayo helped me with this. The list of 101 sites was from him. Right? Well, I shouldn't say that. Many of them were him. there was a handful of them. Probably half of them were from me, stuff that I knew about. So that's why I talked about those today, because they aren't going to be on the list. Some of those aren't going to be on the list.
Yeah.
Right. So I added to it, which is why I say it's over 100, because I added, I don't know, a handful of them that we use. Right.
Yep.
Now, I put the link inside the description so you can go download the list. Okay. But don't send me a support ticket saying that one of the links doesn't work or the website's not up anymore. I don't give a crap. Just don't send me. I don't want to hear it. Go find another one. All I know is until this show, you didn't have the at least the 20 I just gave you, because all those work, because I just went and checked them, and I'm going to use them. Okay. More importantly, if you do the first 5 or 6, you're not going to need all the rest.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're going to have so many damn leads, you're not going to know what to do with it. Right? The internet's always changing, so if there's a link not working, I don't want to hear you whining about it, okay? I'm sorry, I just don't want to hear it, right?
Just move on.
Today's message should be this. I want to be loud and clear with this. Outflow as much as you can. Outflow as much as you can. Outflow as much as you can. This will find you a perfect buyer so you can make a great deal with your seller. Creative real estate is made to take money out of it, not put money into it. And the reason why is because the seller already has the money in the property. What you're going to do is you're going to get documents like a lease with an option to purchase. And you're going to control the property that has money in it already. Why go refinance that property and pay all the fees all over again that you got to get and qualify for the loans and all that? Why do that when you could do this strategy? You can sign an option agreement. You could make $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 or more, like $800,000. You make $40,000, $50,000 on one deal. What do you got to do? 2 deals a year to replace your income? The trick is not spending time on the sellers. The trick is to spend the time on the buyers. Just find someone that will give you an option agreement that will allow you to sell it for, an option agreement for 60 to 90 day time period to go find your buyer and use this podcast and the document that I'm giving you. And outflow. Let everybody in the world know you have this property on a rent to own. They don't have to pay for it today. They can give you a down payment, which is your profit, and they can give you monthly payments that you're going to give to the seller, and it's going to pay for it, and they do all your due diligence for you. This is way better than what the realtor does, because it's way more money, and it's way better than what they do. Okay? So this should be your model if you are starting, because there's no risk. You don't put any deeds in your name. There's no risk. There's no lawsuits. There's no money involved. I'm giving you free sites. It's like all you need to do is have a conversation with a seller and say, we sold a house and have a bunch of leftover buyers. Would you consider selling your house? And then just use the solopreneur script, or the Grand Slam offer, which if you go back into the podcast, if you go to flippinghousesforrookies.com and click on the podcast link, there's a search bar there. And you could search for there's 414 podcasts. Well, 413. Next week it'll be 414 because we're always a week behind. You can search in there for Grand Slam offer, and I'll give you the podcast with all the links and everything in it. Okay? Yep. So Mary says, thank you. You're very welcome, Mary. I hope that you enjoy it. I hope you make a bunch of money. And we are pleased to know that technology is in process, and we are using it. And that's why we're sharing all this information. So I didn't allow Peter to talk too much today. I apologize, Peter, because I wanted to buzz through all that. I knew we had a lot to do.
That's okay. I'll let you go. I'll let you run loose when I need to.
There you go. So thank you for your support. Don't forget to click on the link in the description so you can download your list. Please make sure you like us. Make sure you subscribe to us. Make sure you leave us a review. And yeah, there you go. And if you need help, go to flippinghousesforrookies.com. Top right-hand side is a support link, and you can send us a support ticket if you so desire. Or you can go to Creative REI Reply 2. Creative REI Reply is our software company, and you can put a support ticket in there. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you have a fantastic day today, because today is the 4th of July. Enjoy your day. Be safe, be cool, enjoy your family, and talk to you on episode number 415. Good day. Flourish and prosper.
Thanks for tuning in to the hottest real estate topics on the planet with Bill and Pete. If you want to continue learning how to buy and sell real estate without money or credit, head over to flippinghouses.club for some cutting-edge real estate wealth tools. Or contact us at info@flippinghouses.club.